Hello, everyone. This is Dr. B from Steps to the Future, welcoming you to another college and career conversations with Dr. B. I am really thrilled to have our guest with us this evening, Miss Trinity Wilson, and you'll get an opportunity to meet her in a few minutes and hear her story, her educational and her career journey as she makes her way through life. I love doing these types of conversations because I think it's so important for young people to be able to get an idea of their possible selves. You know, I was one of those people, as many of you know, when I started going through, middle school, high school, and what have you. I really didn't have my first Black teacher until I was in the seventh grade. And I knew early on that I wanted to be an educator. So that's one of the reasons, for those of you who aren't familiar with college and career conversations with Dr. B, that's the main reason that I do these college and career conversations, because it's really important for people, young Black and brown people, to see people that look like them in all various career pathways. So we're going to get started in a minute. First, let me just do a quick intro. We'll be right back. So thank you, everyone. I am going to bring my guest on the screen, Miss Trinity Wilson. Hello, Trinity. Thank you so
Hi
much
there.
for joining us.
Oh, of course. This is an easy yes. So I'm glad
Oh,
to be here.
okay, that is so good. So, folks, let me give you a quick bio on Trinity, and I'm sure she's going to share so much more with us. So just pay attention. So Trinity is a 2016 UCLA grad and a higher education professional at UC Berkeley, working with high school students in their educational pursuits. As she helps others, she is also in pursuit of her MBA and MA. Come on, girl, 2 degrees in educational leadership from Mills College in Oakland, California. She is a member of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated of the Rho Delta Omega chapter in Palo Alto, California. Trinity this year is the chair of Rho Delta Omega's 31st, you hear me? 31st Black College Awareness Fair. Welcome, Tiffany. Tiffany Trinity. So glad to have you here. This is wonderful. So, people, as you join in, if you have any comments or questions, please put them in the chat. We'd love for you to join in the conversation. Don't be quiet out there. Say hello. Let us know where you're from, where you're viewing from. Are you viewing it on Facebook? Are you viewing it on YouTube? For those of you who are viewing it, make sure you share this out with people. Make sure, if you don't get an opportunity to stay the whole time, that you come back and watch the replay. So, Trinity, I always like to begin with asking my guests, what are you grateful for today?
Today I'm grateful for the opportunity to take a break. And so today's been really nice. One, it is a holiday, but also things have been very, very busy and a little bit chaotic. And if I was to be honest, I would say the past 2 weeks or so just felt like I was suffocating because there was just so much to get done. So to take a break today and just sit back and not have anything really on my schedule that was planned, it was kind of like, do what you want, do what makes you feel good today. That has been really, really, really nice because things have been just a little bit of a lot with school and work and with planning for the 31st Black College Awareness Fair. It's been busy. So today's been nice to just kind of take a moment to breathe and relax for a couple of hours.
That is so good, because it's so important that we practice self-care and that we unplug every now and then, because that's how we have to keep our sanity. So, Trinity, tell us a little bit about you as a high school student. We always like to start there because we're hoping high school students get to see themselves in that transition.
Mm-hmm. So me as a high school student, I would say part of my part of my high school experience may not be super common for other individuals. However, I went to St. Mary's College High School in Berkeley, California, and I would have to say that I feel like my middle school experience, but as well as my high school experience, have very much helped me become the person I am today, and I'm extremely grateful for that. But in high school, I also ran track, and so I was a full scholarship student athlete to UCLA, and so high school really helped set the stage for that. And so in the classroom and academically, what I would say is I was someone who was like, oh my gosh, I want to learn. I want to know this information. I want to feel confident in the classroom, especially with having my peers next to me, being at different levels of, just having different levels of intelligence in different topics. And for me, classroom studying and classroom learning, it's just a challenge, but I'm always like, I want to be able to say, like, I was proud of myself for working really hard and trying to learn. So I was that person who was asking a billion questions in class, thought I had it in class, and still would come back to my teachers and say, I still need your help. Can I come in at lunch or after school? And so that for me was something that I think was really helpful for me, because it allowed me to really continue to move outside of my comfort zone and be okay with asking for help, even in high school. And I think that really helped me, because even now I will tell people when I need your help. I will tell people when I can't do something by myself, and I'm totally confident to say, I didn't get here by myself, and I had people help me with that. So high school for me was a big confidence builder, as well as probably the second step of teaching me why relationships are very important. And so I would be in the classroom learning from my teachers, but I always find my way saying, what do you like to do? What do you do when you're not here? Let me get to know you outside of just being a teacher, outside of just being an office attendant. And so I would find myself in the principal's office, not because I was in trouble, but because I would say, Mr. Imperial, what are you doing today? How's your family? Or doing the same thing with different administrators at my high school. And I thought it was just really cool to get to know them outside of just normal capacity, just seeing people and saying hi and bye. So my high school experience was really, it was really nice to be able to learn, but also build relationships with the people who I spent so much time with, who weren't just my peers. So I loved that. I also ran track, and so I was on quite a few USA teams in high school. So there was some times where I would miss school because of track obligations, whether it was like going across the country or going out of the country and coming back. It was also really important to me to let the people at my high school know school is important to me, but this is also important to me, and I'm going to find a way to balance and prioritize both without dropping either one of them. And so that to me was something really fun, because I had to think to myself how privileged and blessed and honored I was to say, I'm in high school and I get to travel to Japan in January for about 2 to 3 weeks and miss school and still have conversations with my teachers to say, let's make sure I stay on course. I don't want to come back and be behind. But have people at my high school who were so supportive of me in making sure that I was on top of my game in high school and my academics, but being equally as encouraging in my athletic pursuit too. So high school for me was great. I loved it. And I always say my middle school and my high school really helped develop the person I am and really enjoy being.
Trinity, that sounds like an experience that we wish every student had. For those of you that are just joining in, please make sure you put some comments, join us in the conversation. Let us know where you're viewing from. Let us know if you're on Facebook or on YouTube. We want this to be more than a conversation between Trinity and myself, so make sure you join in. So Trinity, when you were talking about the ability that you had at a young age to realize the importance of relationships with people outside of the classroom, I loved it when you said that you were in the principal's office, but not because you were in trouble. I love that. You're in there having a conversation with people. So that's so important. And the idea that you recognize the importance of asking questions. And so many students are nervous, anxious, afraid, shy about asking questions because they feel like, well, maybe that's not such a good thing because then, everybody's going to look at me. And the thing is, you were probably asking some of the questions that other kids wanted to ask, but were too shy or too embarrassed to ask. So I love that. And I love how you talked about being able to align your academic and your athletic pursuits in a way that you were still able to do well in school. You had a marvelous experience. So tell me a little bit. When you said, "Oh, I was in Japan," so tell me a little bit more about how that came about.
So God gifted me with being fast over 100-meter hurdles, and so that hurdles was my specialty in track and field. And in high school, I humbly will say I was exceptionally better than other people that did the same event as me. And so I actually would go to USA track meet or USA qualifying track meets to qualify for junior teams, to be a part of different teams to represent the United States all over the place. And so while I was in high school, I had the opportunity to represent the U.S. in the middle of January in an indoor track and field meet in Japan, as well as represent the U.S. in Singapore in their first World Youth Olympic Games, and represent the U.S. in all these other places, and be so honored to think to myself, I'm in high school and I'm really doing this and really enjoying myself and having a good time, but also not falling short of the fact that I worked really, really hard and was very meticulous with my training and having conversations with my coach, who I still love today and consider him as another dad to me, and ask questions about how can I get better at this? What do I need to do differently? And really focusing and honing in on my craft in a way where I don't think a lot of people at my age consider doing or really did, in a way that separated you from other things and other people. And I think part of that, honestly, for high school, it made me very aware that going to college wasn't just an opportunity, it was an expectation for me to go. And so I was trying to make sure in everything that I did, I prepared myself to choose where I wanted to go to school, because I was getting recruited from so many different places. And I think another thing about that was because I was so meticulous with hurdling and the very technique and intricacies that has, it made me be that same way in school academically too. And I think what was really, really great about that is it allowed me to be comfortable with just being with me, because because my race was an individual race. So I'm working on myself individually every single day, but also realizing that and it's funny because I talk to my mom about this even now, about feeling as if sometimes my high school experience was a bit isolating, because I got to do so many things that not a lot of people in my high school or just around had the opportunity to do. But now I'm realizing it was isolating in some of the best ways. I'm like, I was privileged to do these things that not many people are able to do, or not many people even knew some of these opportunities existed. And so it was just really cool to just represent the US all over the place and be a part of teams where I was one of the youngest people on the team and still showing up and showing out. So it was really good. It was really good. One of the best experiences of my life.
I love that. Showing up and showing out. I love that. So we have some folks that had joined in with us. Antoinette, my twin, thank you for joining us. It's good to see you here. We have, I hope I pronounced your name right, Letitia.
That's correct. That's my BCA co-chair.
Okay.
That's my girl.
So she has a question for you. She wants to know, how did your travels help you to build confidence when talking to people and feeling comfortable in different situations?
I think, honestly, finding my confidence started before I even started traveling. And I think the reason why is because I had to be prepared before I left anywhere. And so that is me being prepared for how do I have conversations with different people? What makes this interesting? What makes me interesting? What things do I need to know that may relate? What are some things that I know that I just don't know and need to have conversations and ask other people? And so I would say my confidence building started before I even traveled. Mainly because a lot of the times that I traveled, although my mom made sure she went on every single international trip with me, but my coach didn't go. My coach couldn't come on the trips. And primarily a lot of the times because I was representing the US, we were also isolated a lot from being with our families and being with friends who came on the trips to support us. And so I think knowing that you're going to be somewhere, not with the people who've loved you and helped build you up this whole entire time, it allows you, if I don't want to say allows, it forces you to be more sure of yourself before you even take steps somewhere else.
Okay.
And that was something that was really helpful. And then when I traveled, I realized people are a lot more welcoming than you think they will be, which I appreciated so much. Just letting people know that I was appreciative to just be in their country or their place of residence, and also being open to different perspectives, different thoughts, different food. Because I tell people all the time, food is the language of the world. Food will get you into the door somewhere by just being open to trying something new and learning what different cultures enjoy and like. And so I think having an open mind of what experiences will be like in different places built my confidence up, because other people welcomed me a lot quicker than maybe if I had a different perspective.
Okay, so it's all about mindset. It's all about having that open mind. I love what you said about when you go into different cultures, learning about the culture and accepting the food, because like you said, that's one of the quickest ways to become connected with folks is through the food we eat.
Food is a love language.
It really is. It really is. My love language is ice cream anywhere. So that's one of my love languages. One of the things I wanted to ask you is when you were talking about the, your experience of going over there without your coach and sometimes your mom being able to come with you, there was so much maturity there. I mean, I don't, does that come natural for you? That level of maturity at that age?
I think it did, but I wouldn't be doing justice to the people that I watched who came before me. So for example, in track, there were people who I trained with who would be 3 to 5 years older than me. And they were the shoes that I knew I wanted to fill. And so watching them watch how serious they were about their crafts, and also recognizing that they were in places where I wanted to be. So I made sure to follow kind of the way they walked, how they navigated certain situations, what they were in tune to. And so that for me, I think was really helpful, because it probably showed me maturity before I really learned it.
Okay.
And that was really helpful. But I also think part of me has always been that person who's like, I want to do these things and I want to do them well. Right. And being open to hear other people and their perspectives of what they think about me or what they think that I'm doing. And that allows me to have a heightened sense of awareness a lot of the time to figure out, how do I want to represent myself in whatever environment I'm in? And I've always been really, really conscious about that, because I'd rather people see me, whether it's at a glance or afar, and say like, oh, I like how she carried herself, or I like that she said this, whether they know me well or not. And that to me is really, really important. And I've always felt that way about just being able to represent myself well.
Okay. Wow. I hope any of those young folks that are watching this now or that are going to watch it on the replay, I really hope that you listen to this piece of it, because it's so much about self-awareness and knowing who you are and being comfortable in your own shoes, but also being humble enough to learn from those that came before you. And that is one of the things that we need to help our young people understand. So let's move. So then you graduate from high school and go to UCLA. So tell us a little bit about your experience at UCLA.
UCLA was one of the best experiences I could have ever had. And high school, I would say I had a wonderful high school experience, but a lot of that, the focal point was on track. And although I was a full scholarship student athlete at UCLA, I was like, you know what? It's not everything that I thought. Track isn't my identity. And I think I was caught in that a lot. So UCLA was a place where I'd learned quickly that I've got to be something more than just this sport. And so when I got there, it was somewhat intimidating because I thought to myself, everybody who was in this class is smart as I don't know what. and it intimidated me so much, because it didn't intimidate me to be in a class of 300 people. Okay. What intimidated me was to be in a class of 300 people. Everyone in there was smart, but some people only had to show up 2 times, and that was for the midterm and the final. And they got it like that. I had to show up every time because I needed to hear and understand and go to office hours and talk to the teaching assistant, because it took a little bit more for me to learn the concepts. And so school at UCLA was challenging because it just takes a moment for me to grasp all these concepts and all these just everything that comes with being in the classroom on a college campus. But it was really worth a while to still have that kind of like ambition and gumption to be like, I'm still going to try this anyway. I'm still going to do my best anyway. I remember I got a C+, and I was as proud of that C+ as if I got an A. And because I worked really, really hard for it.
Yes.
And so academically, UCLA was a challenge, and GEs were the hardest part for me. And a lot of people are like, GEs are easy. GEs are the hardest part for me. But then when I got to my junior and senior year and I was able to focus on what my major and minor was, I fell in love with it because that's where my interest was. And I majored in sociology, but I minored in gender studies. Okay. And I told people all the time, I said, I'm only majoring in sociology because I'm in love with gender studies. and that to me made sense, because I realized that all these intersectionalities that make a person unique is what matters to me. I do not care about what Karl Marx said. I don't care about what this person said. I want to know what makes the people unique that I speak to every single day.
Right.
And that really mattered to me. And so in the classroom, the first 2 years were really, really hard. And there was a lot of points where I just felt like college wasn't necessarily for me, because academically it was just really, really challenging. And track was also going in a different direction. They had a whole bunch of coaching changes, and that wasn't panning out as I had expected to either. But also realizing that I can still try hard and I can still be ambitious for things that matter to me. That was really helpful because it allowed me to continue to get to know everybody who walked past me. Okay. So when I would be in, what do you call it? It's called the Morgan Center at UCLA, and I assume you'll call it like the student athlete center, academic center. And I had told myself, everybody who works in here, I'm going to know their name and I'm going to know what they do. And so I would make it a point to go into people's offices, to get to know their name, to get to know what they did. And every summer, I would work during the summer and I wouldn't come home, and I would get to know everything that everybody did in the UCLA athletic department. And that to me was really important because I didn't want to be just another student athlete coming through UCLA. I didn't want to be that. I wanted to be a student athlete who came through UCLA and people knew me when I was there. People knew me when I left, and when I go back to visit, I still want people to know who I am. That to me was really important to me, and to be able to text UCLA football coaches, to be able to text UCLA basketball coaches, to be able to text administrators at UCLA who's there right now, and ask them for something or get their suggestion or recommendation for something. They'll pick up the phone and text or call me back. That to me was and is absolutely everything. And to be like that with everyone I experienced, and to realize that's also the reason why after I graduated on a Friday, I had a job at UCLA on a Monday.
Wow.
That was important to me.
Yeah.
And it was also important to me to find some of the greatest friends that I would ever have in college. So having friends that supported me the entire time was absolutely amazing. But then also realizing that I will never be just a name or a number somewhere. Somebody's going to be impacted by me because I'm going to make sure of it. That was my UCLA experience.
Wow. I'm just sitting here saying, oh my God, I can't wait to show this to other students. Because I think when you talked about, so at the beginning, when you were talking about going into class and knowing that you had to work that much harder because it didn't come as easy to you, and that you did all the things. You went to the office hours, you went to the tutoring sessions, you went to everything. I think it's so important for young people to hear that, because so many students think that if they're not learning the same way as someone else, that somehow that makes them less than, and that they're not able to move forward. Whereas you seem to have what we call a growth mindset and versus a fixed mindset. You knew that, okay, this is not the end all and be all for me. There's some way that I can continue moving forward. And this is how I learned. You understood what your learning style was and what you needed to do, and made sure you did it. But what
with still a lot of frustration, like still moving through with a lot of frustration and irritation that it didn't come as easily for me as it did for other people. I still decided to go to all those classes, to go to all those office hours, to go to those tutoring sessions, upset that I had to be there, but knowing that I still had to be there.
But see, that's what kids need to hear. They need to hear that that's how you have to do it. You have to push through. You have to push through. If you want to get to the other side, you need to take care of business any way that it works for you to do that. And Letitia said, and that you're still that way. You just sound, now I've just met you for the first time today through the camera. And I already feel like, wow, this is somebody who I want to be in your presence. You just have a way of, I don't know, you just exude so much enthusiasm, so much positivity. I can see your kids that you work with at your high school program in your current job, they must love you to death. They must love you to death, because I can just see that transferring to them. I can just see that transferring to them. And I love what you said about you majored in sociology, but you really loved the gender studies. And that was your way of getting there. So tell me about the work that you're doing now.
So now I work at UC Berkeley, and there's a college readiness program called Boost at Berkeley Haas. And that program is for current 8th grade students who are rising freshmen to apply and be a part of a program that they can be in from 9th to 12th grade. And I think what makes this program special is it's on the UC Berkeley campus, but it is a part of the Haas School of Business, which is one of the most reputable schools that not just students look towards, but also adult professionals look towards, and companies and organizations look towards to figure out what's the next for me. And I think that's something that's really awesome. And so this program is giving students the opportunity to find people who are going to give you support and resources in a way that helps elevate their current academics and their current learning and their current experiences that they may not have had if they went somewhere else. And so what I tell students all the time is, for a senior to go to college and to have access to different faculty at UC Berkeley, that's a huge deal. I say, and then I also let them know, for professionals to decide that it's important to go back to school, get accepted to a business school, and have faculty that they have access to is a big deal. But for a high school student to have the same access to these faculty members who are paid to work with undergraduate students and with professional students, it's really important because they're giving their time to you for free. They are volunteering their time and their hours and creating case study projects with businesses and organizations that work with people who range from 27 to 40, 45, 50 years old, a part of their MBA programs, and they're adjusting it so that high school students can work on it and give a different perspective. And I always ask them, where do you think that you can do this anywhere else?
Exactly.
And so that's what's really cool and unique about our program is, number one, we're just giving students resources and opportunities that UC Berkeley gives to not even everyone on campus. It's still a few. 2 students that get accepted into our program, which is what I love the most. And I always tell the students, whatever you get from this program is exactly what you gave to it. So if you were looking for a certain type of experience, if you were looking for a certain type of opportunity, most likely the reason that you didn't get that thing is because you didn't give your full energy to it, or ask the question, how can I get this? What do I need to do to get this? And that's what I love about our program is there's so many things that we tell students, all you need to do is ask.
Okay.
And we will either give to you directly or provide a resource to get it to you.
To give it to you. So when the students come into that program, how are they in that program from 8th grade throughout high school, or?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah. So when they officially start that 8th to freshman bridge summer, they will start with that same cohort and be in that same cohort until they graduate their senior year.
That is fantastic. Oh my God. I wish more colleges had programs like that, because that sounds like something that, well, first of all, we know every student would benefit from that kind of high touch in the atmosphere. And as you said, being at the Haas School of Business, where, grown-ups are trying to get into that, get in there and to get the resources. So I just pray and hope that those students understand what they have.
Yeah.
What they have. So tell me a little bit about, so what are some of the activities? You mentioned case studies. What are some of the other things that those students have an opportunity to participate in?
So our students work on different types of case studies with different levels of rigor from their freshman year to their junior year, as well as there are college workshops that take place 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th grade. And so those college workshops are, number one, introducing different college opportunities to students, but progressing in different college information that pertains to each grade level. So freshman year, it's let's introduce you to this, what this looks like. Sophomore year, what do you think you want to do? Let's give you some insight on your favorite school right now may not have the major that you really want. What does that look like? And giving students that information. Junior year, it's really preparing students for what senior year is going to be, because as soon as they start senior year, you need to start writing some PIQs and finding some financial aid. And so doing all the research and applying to school is a lot if you haven't had the chance to start that early. And so junior year, it's prepping them for what senior year is going to be, as well as what I like to tell them all the time, you can't be on this journey by yourself. And so we are always inviting their family members to also come be a part of the conversation and to learn the information. Number one, learn the information because it's not just important for your student to know, you need to know too. So when they need to
Mhm.
ask for help, you can say, I remember hearing about this. We're going to have to get some other people involved, but at least you know, and students don't have to constantly feel as if they're translating information and they get to still just be a kid. And that to me is really important, allowing them to still be a kid and have the support of their family. And I always tell them as well, your family, you may not have the traditional mom and dad. You might have two dads. You might have two moms. You might be living with the guardian. You might be a foster student, but that doesn't mean that you all can't receive the same information.
Mhm.
And so that to us is really important. So the college workshops are really, really heavy. And then senior year, we do one-on-one counseling with the seniors. We do college application crunches. We do financial aid, kind of just powering through what are the
Mhm.
ones that you should fill out. What are some ones that are recommended or suggested to you? And a lot of this is what I tell the students all the time is we are complementing what you're already doing in the classroom and what your school should be offering, but not every school offers it
Right.
well.
Right.
and,
Right.
and, and just being honest about that and saying
Yes.
you have a counselor that's probably serving 2,000 other people.
Mhm. Yes.
Does your counselor know what you want to do in college? Does your counselor know where you want to go? Or are you a part of a group of students that's filed in this folder? And when you walk into that person's office, they're like, oh, let me take out your information.
Mhm.
And so we just try to be as hands-on and informative with our students and really pressing the college workshops that work hand in hand with our case study projects that each class has to do every single year, aside from the seniors.
Okay.
And before, we also used to offer SAT and ACT prep, but since
Mm.
that world is changing, we're starting to do some different things and still offer it to those students who find it important to still take those tests,
Okay.
but to also have another focal point for students to give their time and energy to something different if that's not something that they want to do. So we do a lot of things, and then also during the
Mm.
summers we have internships available for students. So we do our programming from September to May. We don't do anything official in the summer at
Okay.
all, unless that's what the student wants to do. So we have internships, paid internships available to our students who want to take advantage of it. And I tell them all the time, you get what you put into it. So if you want an internship to be able to put on your resume to say this is what you did, then you do that. But
Right.
if you want to go ahead and enjoy your summer and hang out with your friends, there's nothing wrong with that either. But there was opportunities there for you to take advantage of if you
Mhm.
felt that like that was important to you. So
Right.
those are just a few of the things
Wow.
that happened during 9 months.
Well, that program sounds absolutely amazing. And like I said before, I just hope what you said is that the kids are taking advantage of it because those opportunities don't come easily. And not everybody has the chance to be engaged in an environment like that and have someone like you really making sure that they get what they need if they're open to getting it.
Mm-hmm.
That's so important, making sure that they're open to getting it. But to have that opportunity is absolutely amazing. So we have a question here. So I know that you yourself um, are in school. So we have a question here from Antoinette who wants to know, why did you decide to pursue a joint master's program at Mills? Why business and education?
Okay, so for that first part, I decided to pursue a joint master's program at Mills because before working at UC Berkeley, I worked at UCLA Anderson School of Management,
Mhm.
and that's their business school there. And there are so many things that I want to do, and I was just around so many incredible people. And what I found that they have most in common, especially in the different industries and lanes that I would like to maneuver in, a lot of them had MBAs. And
Okay.
so what I did was there's this one particular industry that I would love to be a part of, engage in more. And I looked up everyone at the top level in that industry and checked to see what degrees they had. And majority of them had MBAs.
Okay.
Everyone who I was having conversations with and admired when I decided to start thinking about, before I even started thinking about my MBA, they had MBAs.
Okay.
And so I thought to myself, same way as I did before, if I'm following in the footsteps of these people and I'm realizing that there is a trend with this MBA thing going on, maybe that's something that I should probably pursue. And the reason why I decided to really take it seriously and pursue it was because at work one day, I was just thinking about it and realized I can go to work every single day, but that does not mean I'm learning something new every day. And that to me was a game changer, to be in an environment every single day that you give so much time to, so many hours of your day, so many hours of your life, and not be learning something new, blew my mind. And I realized, well, let's go back to school to learn a little something. And that was just important to me. And I decided to do business and education, one, because a lot of people that I was looking up to and have conversations with, they have MBAs, and education is important to me because as a former student athlete, my heart goes to students, but my heart goes to student athletes also, to say your educational experience can be a lot different and a lot and just turn around in a way that you may not expect it, because you may not have thought of yourself to be this type of person or do these type of things, which as a former student athlete, that identity transition, it's difficult. And so I know that I want to work with student athletes more specifically, and having a background in education, and to be able to say, you can do both. Like people code switch, you could do the same thing with the type of careers that you're interested in, and that's perfectly fine. And so to me, to be able to have that more theoretical background and also be able to do the practice and put them both together, I think is really, really cool. So that's why I decided to do both and pursue my master's.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness, Trinity, you are inspiring me. I'm like, okay, do I need to go back to school and do something? You are definitely inspirational. And a comment from Antoinette is about, talking back of the high school program. That is a kind of program that can change the trajectory of a student. I mean, just changes their life in ways that they haven't even recognized yet. So again, I just hats off to you and the folks in that program. And again, I just hope those students are taking advantage of everything that's coming their way. For people that are listening in, if you have any comments or questions for Trinity, please make sure you let us know, join in the conversation. Make sure you're sharing this out with people. If you're watching this on the replay, you can still put in questions and we'll see if we can get those answers for you. So please, share it out and take part in the conversation. So moving on, I mean, God, I could talk to you like forever. So moving on, as the chair of the Rho Delta Omega's Black College Awareness Fair, tell us about the Black College Awareness Fair for people who aren't familiar with it.
So for people who aren't familiar with it, this year is the 31st annual Black College Awareness Fair that is led by Rho Delta Omega, chapter of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated and the Ivy and Pros Foundation. And this is really an opportunity for students, but also the community in our area, to understand the importance of HBCUs and Black colleges and universities, especially because on the West Coast, there's not a lot of exposure to it for those who live here, but it doesn't make it less important. And so being able to share the importance of this and the experience of this with so many people in our community who, I'm going to be honest, see UCs every day, University of California schools every day, hear about California State University schools every day, and to just open their horizon about the other things that exist that don't make it less important just because you may not know about it as well. And so that is something that we really try to share with our community here. And because we're virtual, we are looking forward to sharing it with so many more people who are interested and want to join and be a part of it, because they can. And that for us is really important because we try to continuously expand our reach, and being able to be virtual, although at some point in time it was forced upon us back in 2020, and now it's like take advantage of what you can. And that for us is being able to say, so we can reach so many more people if they just want to hop on and join us. That to us is really, really, really great for students who find interest, but also may not have known about this if it wasn't for our Black College Awareness Fair. And so myself and my co-chair, Letitia, we've been like working really, really hard on this, as well as Antoinette, who's been really allowing me to just kind of like ask her all the questions I've needed to ask and learn from every suggestion or recommendation that she has been really, really helpful, as well as the fact that my source, or Antoinette, has been one of the chairs of this event for a really, really long time. And what's been really great is to see the tradition and the historical wonders of what BCA has been, and to change it over to new people, not so we can just change the entire thing, but just so we can enhance what we have, has been really, really great. And then to have the support of everyone who's in our chapter, but just also different community members who are like, let's just go do it, and let's just go do it a little bit differently, but also hold on to those things that make BCA exactly what it is really, really great.
So I want to share, if I can do this right. So this is your Instagram page.
Yes, ma'am.
And I want people to be able to know. So folks that are interested in learning more about the Black College Awareness Fair and get information about it and about this particular chapter of AKA, here's where you go. So you can go on here, and as you can see on there, it tells you that how you can register for it, learn about it, and also learn more about this chapter. So definitely, I want you to, I want folks to go in here, check it out. So you see all the pink and green going on. You see past postings about college awareness programs that they had, other service programs that they had. So please, folks, so I will also make sure that you have this URL. It'll be in the show notes, but also you can just check right up there and you can make sure that you get that information. So here's the URL, but I wanted to make sure you could see it so that when you come to it, you know that you're at the right place.
Yeah. Thank you so much for sharing that.
Oh, you're welcome. So,
and just to add to, it's really cool because along with making sure students know what HBCUs are out there and having individuals share what their experiences are like on the campuses of these places will be really awesome for students to experience, but also to hear from different people who look like myself, who look like Dr. B, have conversations about what their career pursuits have been and how everything hasn't been in a straight line, but they're able to figure it out, and talk with people who just have amazing experiences and amazing journeys are really, really cool. And so we're going to be talking about college experience. We're going to be talking about different career pursuits. And our keynote speaker this year, he was a part of the Forbes class of 2020, the Forbes under 30 class of 2020. And his name is Kenny Harris, and he's going to be our keynote speaker. And he is a senior engineer at NASA, which is going to be really awesome. And he's going to talk with two of our sorority sisters, actually, who also work at NASA. So to be able to think to yourself, there are Black people who are working on stuff at NASA. People don't just think about that. And there are so many more people who work in different career fields that look just like you and me, but just aren't exposed to it every day. So we're going to definitely highlight some of these people and those things on Saturday, March 5th.
That is so, so good. So it's Saturday, March 5th. So folks, make sure you're putting that on your calendar, because that is something that you want to attend. I actually had the pleasure of attending last year's virtual conference and was, had my little notepad going on, writing stuff down that I wanted to make sure that I shared with my students, for especially those who weren't able to attend. But I think, I think it's so important for students to expand their horizons beyond what they know. And, right here in North Carolina, we have 10 HBCUs. And, we have A&T, which is the largest HBCU in terms of population. And then Shaw is the oldest here in North Carolina. So, and I'm here in Fayetteville, North Carolina. So we have Fayetteville State University, with the Go Broncos, gotta make sure we get those Broncos in there. So it's so important for people to know that, that these schools exist. The more I work with young folks and the more that I'm personally learning about HBCUs, because I grew up in New England. So there weren't conversations about HBCUs. And I'm always like, man, if I could go back to school, I would go to HBCU, because the just the community, that second, as somebody, Dr. Greg Carr, who was a professor at Howard, on the Karen Hunter show, they have a show called In Class with Carr. He always talks about it as the second curriculum. And it's that piece about learning about carrying yourself. It sounds so much as what you were talking about, that your program at Berkeley, what you're teaching the kids and how they're learning to carry themselves and learning to ask questions and what have you, but doing it in a supportive atmosphere where they don't have to worry about all this other stuff that's going on. They can just come there and be students.
Yeah.
They can just come there and be students. And also Antoinette's given us some more information. Saturday, March 5th at 10 a.m. So Pacific Standard Time, but folks here on the East Coast, make sure you're in the right time zone. But I'll also be advertising this on all of my social media and talking to people and making sure that folks I know on the East Coast have the right date and time, because again, it's just so crucial that our students get this information. And like you said, in California, the numbers, counselors are outnumbered. They're outnumbered. When you have caseloads as large as counselors have in California, it's like ridiculous. I'm a former high school counselor, and I remember my last years having, close to 400 students and feeling like, oh my God, this is crazy. However, I know in California, they have way more than ever.
It's a lot. And I think part of that too is people look at California, and it's like, oh, there's this progressive state. Teachers get paid some of the most salary that you'll see everywhere else. And it's a thought of, have you considered our cost of living? Have you realized that our class size is one of the largest class sizes across the country, where teachers are accommodating almost 30 students per class, which that is, I want to say in some places almost probably between like 50 to 60% more students than in any other place across the country. And that's a big deal, having a class size of 30 rather than having a class size of 12 to 15. Exactly. Which really, really changes students' experiences a lot.
Exactly. Especially when we're talking about, when we know that children are our most important resource, and we're not giving them what they need in order to be successful. I mean, they're depending upon us to help them get to that next step. And if we're not doing it, then shame on us.
Yeah, especially even just sharing how important certain things are, or certain opportunities are. And so, for example, I don't know if it's community colleges everywhere, but community college in California has a pathway program to HBCUs, but also the University of California system, they have a partnership with HBCUs as well, to where you can come to a University of California school and almost get your secondary education done for free, which is actually a huge thing. Or taking the opportunity for HBCU students to come and spend a semester at a UC school. There's so many other colleges and organizations that partner with HBCUs and realize the importance of, realize the importance of Black minds, which is really, really great and amazing. And also recognizing that when you say people aren't there And when you say these
Mhm.
people aren't there and those people are specifically, we can't find the people who identify as Black to do this or to do that.
Mm.
No, they're there. You just haven't looked in the places where we are. So let's be very clear about that, and letting people know that there are so many opportunities for HBCU students. And one of the jobs that I worked in at UCLA Anderson School of Management, we actually introduced a program where we partnered with Howard University, and we worked with Dr. Frederick on this, and I was a part of implementing the first class of Howard students to be a part of this program where their cost of living was taken care of, their food was taken care of, the tuition was taken care of, and almost 6 to 8 students, Howard students, had a scholarship to come to LA for a summer and to be a part of a summer program and earn units for school. But everybody doesn't know that students get those opportunities because they haven't looked into it or realized how important that is to other people to make it important to themselves.
Exactly. It's all about, when I hear people talk about an achievement gap, it's not an achievement gap, it's an opportunity gap.
Mm-hmm. And I heard someone the other day say, they almost said the same thing. They were like, it's not an achievement gap, it's an equity gap.
Yes, that is so true. That is so true. Oh my God, Trinity, this has been inspiring. I got to get out to California so I can meet you. I shouldn't say that too loud because Antoinette's always getting on me. Because
you can come out. We can all go to dinner or lunch together.
I know. So Antoinette, now I have another reason to get on a plane and come out there, because now I've got to meet Trinity. And this
has been really great. I appreciate being able to be here and have a conversation with you.
We appreciate you. And we have another viewer, Deborah, who is here local, who is also AKA saying, hey, Soror.
Hi, Soror. How are you?
Oh, that is so good. That is so good. Oh, yes. Yes. Letitia.
Miambi.
Yes, Antoinette reminded me, and that is so good. And I'm actually following Niambi on her Instagram and seeing the wonderful creations that she has. I mean, she's amazing. She is absolutely amazing. Yeah, you should be proud of her, because her work is fantastic. And I'm not an art critic at all, but her work is fantastic. So one of the things I always like to do is, people that know me, I'm always about having a book and reading and what have you. So the book, and I say, okay, what book can we use that will go along with this topic? So here's the book for today. It's called The Divine Nine, The History of African American Fraternities and Sororities. And the author is Lawrence C. Ross Jr. So for folks who want to learn more about the histories of the Divine Nine, this book is like considered one of the Bibles on reading about those. And I'm going to do something a little different today. I was telling Trinity earlier, I strongly believe in lifelong learning and stepping sometimes out of your comfort zone. So I have learned through this StreamYard program how to do an online giveaway. So someone in the audience is going to win a copy of this book. So let me tell you what you need to do. So let me share this other screen with you so that you can see it. So let me get this here. So as you can see on the screen, I want to make sure that you're part of this giveaway. So what you need to do in the comment section, you need to put in hashtag AKA. So we'll give people some time to do that. So make sure you do that. You're going to put in hashtag AKA in order to be part of the drawing. So as I see those pop up, let's go, folks. So Trinity, if you had to give advice to a young person right now that was thinking about their trajectory from high school to college, what is it that you would tell them?
Well, that's a hard one. That's a hard one. I think what I would tell them is to not limit themselves and to be ambitious about anything that you are publicly serious about or secretly serious about. And I say that because there's a lot of things where we secretly dream about and don't share it with anybody. And because no one else knows, sometimes no one else pushes us to get there. And so I would say to be ambitious about those things that you are privately ambitious about most, and be willing to chase after it and figure out how do you get there and what those opportunities like. And I would encourage you to tell somebody who would keep you accountable of getting there.
Wow, that is absolutely amazing. That is God. I mean, if you don't share your dream with someone, how do they know what you need?
Exactly.
How do they know what you need?
So I would, some things I've shared with some of my best friends, I said, I really want to do this, or I keep this little, I think it's right next to me too. I keep this little heart-shaped box in my desk drawer, and I'll put little small things that I really want to do, or little things that I've dreamed about and really want to do, or the type of person I want to be. I'll put it in there. And then every once in a while, I'll just check on it and read it to figure out how close I am to getting there, or how far away I am.
That is good. I love that. I love that so much. With all that you're doing, what do you do for self-care? How do you wind down? What do you do for yourself?
The easiest answer, I'll do this thing called Fat Girl Fridays. I'll get all my favorite snacks, and on Friday evening, Friday night, I will eat my favorite snacks, not feel guilty about it, turn on a good movie, and eat, be happy, watch TV, throw on some Love Jones, throw on Sting, and I will just have a good time by myself and sit there and laugh at a movie, cry at a movie, wish Lorenz Tate was my man in the movie, and just feel good. And literally just feel good. And so that's something that I do. And another thing that I do as well is just go get a massage, or go work out, or hop on FaceTime with a friend that I haven't talked to in a while. Just to catch up and talk a whole bunch of nothing with someone, and it feels like so much of something. That is what I do. I love that.
Oh, that sounds wonderful. That sounds so good. Then that sounds so you. That sounds so you. So Deborah was saying that, every time she thinks someone's going to laugh about her dream, they're supportive. So tell them, so share it with people. So thank you, Deborah, for sharing that. I really appreciate it. For those of you that are coming on, please make sure we're doing a drawing for this book, The Divine Nine, The History of African American Fraternities and Sororities. So please make sure you put hashtag AKA in the comment section, and we'll make sure that somebody takes this book. So we have another question here. So what is the response you get from students when recruiting in the classrooms, knowing that you can only have so many spaces for the incoming cohort?
That's easy. That is probably one of the easiest questions today. And thanks, Mom, for putting that in there. What I tell students all the time is, just because someone's interested doesn't mean they're going to apply. And so I let them know that quick, fast, and in a hurry, because you're going to find so many people that are interested, and there's also going to be so many people who don't take that next step. And allowing them to realize you only get what you put into it, but you won't have an opportunity to something unless you tried for it also. And so that's what I tell them. And so, for example, I'll go to a school and all the students are interested. They're like, I want to be a part of this program. What do I do next? And then I come and do an application workshop, and it's probably a fifth of those students who show up.
Oh.
So my response to them is apply anyway.
Okay. Okay, but that's right. So Kim, this is funny. Kim has a Kim is one of my regulars.
That's a good response, though. I love that.
Oh, you gave me a good laugh there, Kim. I don't know. After being around Antoinette and hearing about AKA and all this stuff, I'm like, man, why didn't I pledge? Why didn't I do something?
It's D9 everywhere. It's
I
D9
know.
love everywhere.
And she keeps saying, it's not too late. I'm like, no. So what we're going to do, so we have 6 entries here. Well, I'm getting some feedback. So we have 6 entries. So this is the last call. We have to put hashtag AKA. I know, Kim, I can still pledge, but I don't know if I want to do all that work. All right, we're going to do our drawing. Ah, so
awesome.
You are our winner. You are our winner. So Deborah, I think I have your contact information anyway already. If I don't, just send me an email and I'll make sure that you get your book. And congratulations to our winner. Oh, this is so cool. I'm so glad I learned how to do this giveaway thing. So I think I'll be doing this every week
that's awesome.
Because it's so much fun. Trinity, I can't thank you enough. You just gave an hour of your time to share your educational and career journey with us, to talk about the work of your heart. And this has been one of my favorite. I don't know. I have so many I just love your enthusiasm. I love the heart that you have for this work. And I know your kids are just so lucky. I know your kids are so lucky. And yeah, we're getting a lot of great comments here. Yes. Yes. So you should really feel good about this, because this was wonderful. And thank you, Antoinette, for introducing me to Trinity. I so appreciate that. And again, Letitia said congratulations to Deborah on her winnings. And Deborah saying thank you. So this has been a really, really interesting, informative, engaging session. I appreciate the conversation. You're getting lots of great comments here. You did do a great job. The comments are coming in. Yes, you are a star. You're a rock star, definitely. I just can't wait to see what the future holds for you, because right now your present is so bright.
Oh, thank you.
So I just know every kid that comes under your watch, if they don't come away better, it's because they didn't take advantage of the opportunity.
Thank you.
Because I can just see it. So I'm thankful that those kids that do have the opportunity to be with you are able to gain something and to have a different trajectory, just like Antoinette said, in their life, because of the work that they're doing with you.
Oh, thank you so much.
Yeah. And we have here someone saying, the sky is the limit for you.
Oh, thank you. Y'all are so sweet. I appreciate it. This right here is awesome. These are the things that really just make my day. So I appreciate it so much.
Yes. And just one more time, I just want to make sure that people that are watching are coming in, make sure that they see the Instagram page so that they can find out more about the Black College Awareness Fair. This is the Instagram page for the organization, so please make sure you go on it. The URL will also be in the show notes, but if you go to it and Palo Alto AKAs, you will be able to see it there. But I want to show you the page again, just to make sure that when you land on the page, you know you're at the right page. And we have another comment here. Yes, 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 yes. So folks, thank you so much for joining us this evening. I enjoyed the engagement. I enjoyed learning about the Black College Awareness Fair. I loved just hearing about your journey. I love the authenticity of your journey. This is who I am. I know what I had to do to get where I needed to go, and I did what I had to do. And I love that. And I just hope students hear that. I just hope students hear that. Okay, folks. Thank all of you so much for joining in this evening. I will be here next Monday with another guest. And if you know of anybody out there in the Black and Brown field, career field, send them my way. I'd love to have guests. Antoinette's been my wingman. She's always finding guests for me, and I really appreciate her 1,000%, much more than she knows. So everyone, I will see you next Monday, same time, 7 p.m. Eastern time. Trinity, just stay on for a minute. And everyone take care and be safe and have a wonderful evening. And Deborah, I will get your book to you. Take care.